In a world that glorifies the grind, Selah is a sacred invitation to pause. Every other week, you'll find space here to slow down, listen inward, and remember who you are beneath all the noise. Through guided reflections, soulful conversations, gentle practices, and story-led journeys, Selah, a deep pause, offers rest. Not an escape, not to repress, but as a way to come home. This podcast is for those standing at the edge of change. You know who you are. The seekers, the sensitives, the high-functioning feelers, those ready to honor the quiet and reclaim their own rhythm. So come as you are and exhale. Then exhale again and stay for the stillness. Hello and welcome back to Selah, a deep pause with my producer, Chrissy. Hello. A very special guest. This girl right here is my daughter, Brandelyn. And we've been on quite a journey into our own individual womanhood and into a new relationship, more open, connected. What else would you say?
Moving from mother and daughter to woman.
Yeah. And it's been fascinating since you were pregnant with Jonas. It's probably 7 years or so. Yeah.
That would be the start of it.
Yep. Yeah. So much has changed. So we want to share some of our story. I do a little opening to ground us into what we're going to be sharing. So today, I want to pause around something that feels very personal to me, but I also think is deeply human. At what point do you stop relating to your mother just as your mother and start seeing her as a woman? And maybe the bigger question is, do we really see the people that we love? Or are we sometimes still seeing them through the lens of who they used to be, who they needed to be, or even who they learned they had to be to be in relationship with you? So today, my daughter, Brandelyn, is sitting across from me, and our story hasn't always been an easy one. I love my children deeply, but I was also a woman living in survival mode when they were young. I was very driven. I was very controlling and straight up perfectionist. I was trying to build a life to take care of my family. And because of that, I wasn't really available. I thought I was, but I wasn't really available to them. And for the long time, that was the version that Brandelyn knew. And then I started to change. But just because I was changing didn't mean that she could immediately see me differently. You know, sometimes the people closest to you can't sense the change, can't see you through the change because there hasn't been a history reflecting. There isn't enough of that new information for them to trust this change. So the lens stays the same. The lens stays as the person that they've known you to constantly show up as. And that's what we're going to dive into today, is the journey over the last 7 years, when it wasn't little changes, when I started making massive changes, and how that started impacting us. And has us here today.
This is a great topic, guys. I'm excited. Brandy, I'm excited for you to be here.
I'm excited to be here too.
Good.
I was happy to see you today.
Now, I haven't seen you in a very long time. Probably since like February.
That's a long time, Chrissy.
Yeah, it is a long time. We should fix that.
That's a very long time.
We'll fix that. But the mother-daughter, I'm going to call it the mother-daughter wound or the mother-daughter relationship, it's interesting. It's complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And especially also when that daughter becomes a mother as well. And I think sometimes that's where that healing can happen, because you're like, I get it. I get a little bit of now. But I'm really excited for both of you to talk through your experience, because I think there's assumptions on both sides of what's going on. Being a mom and having a mom as well, we all have our own stories. We all have our own lens to look through, and we all have our learned experience. And what we usually lead from is what we've experienced, because that's that book, that chapter, whatever, it's usually a very thick volume of information. And just like you were talking about, Laura, the new information that's coming in, it's like, no, I'm changing. I'm doing it this way. Our children are like, yeah, but how long is that going to last? Because I am used to it this way. And also, we don't usually like new things. like the old things. Even if they weren't
Yeah.
great, we prefer the old things because they're known.
Well, you knew how to navigate the old me.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where do you guys want to begin?
So we have a series of questions to kind of try to see where we get sparked in conversation. So let's start with the first question. So when you think of me as a mother, when you grew up, who was I to you?
Who were you to me?
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, you were busy. I feel like that's the best word I could put, is busy. You were working really hard. And I think all of the parents that I was around were working really hard. You, my dad, and Tim were all working very hard to build this different life. And for me, I felt like a lot of what I saw growing up was once you started getting into the career that you wanted, getting what you call now is career girl. Getting into that career, I noticed that you changed. And then you had these expectations of the kind of life you wanted to live yourself, but you wanted all of us to live with you. You never wanted to go anywhere alone. You wanted all of us to come with you. So it felt like I had to step into a different role too to fit that life. You know, showing up to work parties and acting a certain way or dressing a certain way. Like, God forbid I wanted to leave the house with a t-shirt and some jeans or sweats, and you'd say, no, you need to change. Go change. And I'm like, but I'm comfy in this. And like, no, we're about to go meet people and see other people. And I said, well, I'm comfortable in this. If I wear something else, they're not going to get me. And you would tell me, no, you need to change. And, it was small little things like that. Like I had to re-navigate. And I think my relationship and doing a lot of reflection over time with us had a lot more to do with I was always seeking your approval on how to live my life. And I was always seeking your words, your values. I noticed it took a long time to really work away from that, and I still find ways that I am still doing it. But where I'm trying to make a decision, and I noticed I would always consult you or other people in order to make a decision. Like I needed evidence or proof that this was okay to move forward with, that I was never confident enough to make choices myself because back then it was I had to run it by you. And it always felt like, well, my choice wasn't okay. I had to do your choice. And so that's where the controlling part comes in. But I didn't see it as controlling back then. I just didn't see myself as very confident. And that's where that's how I would say I saw you the most, as busy and someone that really saw me as her road to redemption. Like I felt that you wanted me to take the path that you didn't. You wanted me to have a different life. You don't want me to have anything like the life you had. You wanted me to go to college, get the degree, even like pushing medicine, like go to the medical route. And that's what I did. I started going the medical route until I realized, wait, what am I doing? I don't actually want this, and change degrees. So yeah, I would say a lot of my 20s was figuring out you and building a new relationship with you, because that was when our whole relationship blew up. My teenage years and early 20s was that blew up. And back then I saw you as very mean.
You used another word the other day.
What? I did?
Yeah. Intimidating.
Yeah, you were intimidating. You were intimidating to my friends. All of my friends like, she's scary. And intimidating to me was different. I wasn't scared of you, but I was intimidated by your success, that I needed to measure up and have that same success, be able to do things like buy this big, beautiful house and afford big trips. Like I felt like I needed to afford and become the life that you had. And that was what was intimidating, because when I wasn't meeting it at the times that I wanted to, I felt like a failure. So that's usually what I meant by that.
That makes sense.
Now, what did you think of me as your daughter back then? How did you view me?
Don't turn it around on me already.
Love it. I love it. Good job, Brandy. Good job.
Let's see here. Well, I had you very young. I was only 22 years old. I was super young, and I had not known anything but survival until then. Surprisingly, when I was pregnant with you, I went into a lot of depression because my world had not been pleasant. Then after that, I think that's why I got so busy. I couldn't fail. I became obsessed with being the best at anything that I did.
So, Laura, her question actually was, what did you think
So
about
sorry.
her?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I think I'm landing on some of those things. As you were growing up, you were this carefree hyper, got her hands into everything, spoke about everything so freely. And you were just, I think I didn't see it back then that you were a reflection of me when I was young, but I see it now. You were this carefree, bubbly, fun child. And it scared me to let you just be you. Yeah. And you were, oh my God, you were feisty. It's like if I chose an outfit for you because the perfectionist, I had an outfit all set up for you to look just amazing. You would mix up the outfit, switch up the socks, do something, and you'd come out just this wild little thing. And I'm like, but you didn't stop pushing the envelope with that.
That's a Gemini thing.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't stop pushing the envelope with that. So you pushed against my perfectionism constantly.
Hence the fight.
Yes. Hence the fights.
Tim would always ask me, he's like, "Look, just put the outfit on. I like what you had." He's like, "Just put it on like this. We both know your mom's not going to let this go." I'm like, And I would sit there on the fence thinking I can take the peaceful route or I can go in there, lay my hand down and just.
And you see that
At
little
two
face,
roads.
even
Pushing
since she
that
was
boundary.
little, even when she was little, that little mischievous face will look at me and raise her eyes, and I'm like, oh shit. It's like, here we go. So
You made that last week too.
yeah.
When Andrew made a comment towards me about my car being dirty. And I sat there doing the same thing. I can either make an argument about this or I can let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And so you were fiery. You were bubbly. You were also a magnet around people. People loved hanging out with you. And so I loved everything about you. The only thing was for me is I had such a lens of protection that it blocked my ability to be able to let you just be fully you. And I wish I hadn't done that, but I did. But how I can see you now that I don't have that lens, I have to just go to that is you're freaking brave as fuck. You're brave as fuck. You step into difficult conversations. You did it even when you were young. And, we have a brother that everybody was scared of, and everyone kept their mouth shut around him. The reason he couldn't stand you is because you wouldn't keep your mouth shut. You would say the things. So yeah.
Times very annoyed by me not keeping my mouth shut.
No, you're very brave.
I would reframe that as people are uncomfortable with you not going out of your way to make them comfortable.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about not letting my silence be a crutch, but instead voicing whatever it is anyways, just because someone else is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because you're right, it is. It's their discomfort. Their discomfort should not be my discomfort or silencing.
Yeah.
And they are uncomfortable. And I kind of want to come back to what you said about protection, trying to protect me, because that means you were afraid of something. So what does that mean you were afraid of?
I don't think there was a specific thing, I would say, right up front. It was my own conditioning. I was doing to you exactly what I said I wasn't going to do with my mom, which was we had to dress to look a certain way. Back then, it was a complete blind spot for me because my own conditioning made me feel like people are going to make fun of her. People are going to judge her. And so, but I don't even think I was consciously thinking that at all. It was such a blind spot. So it was all conditioning, honestly, Mama.
Well, we do a lot of things out of safety too, to your point. I think what you're trying to say is you were doing things that would keep your kids, because I'm sure Andrew got some of it too, keeping them safe from ridicule, being made fun of, judgment, things like that. So in our brain, it's like we're making it easier for our kids, so to speak, and not realizing how much because we're not aware of it at the time, how much we're
Correct.
dampening their spirit or putting them down or putting more boundaries on them than they need. And then a lot of it's just our shit that we're just passing on. Doesn't feel like it at the time at all. It feels like we're doing, it's kind of like if you have a child that might be a little bit overweight, and if you have or ever had a weight problem, you're like, maybe you don't eat that extra thing because it's going to make you fat. And it's not that we think they're fat. It's because we were fat or something, or with, it's the same thing. Like it's like generationally, we just keep pushing the shit down and we don't even know we're doing it.
Nope.
I actually caught myself doing it because Rory was getting dressed for her first day of school last week. Brandon came over with the kids so we could all ride together. And the dress she showed up in was oversized and it didn't fit her well. And I thought it was, I don't want to sound harsh, but I didn't think it was cute. I was like, girl, it's your first day. We got to look cute. And I said, what if someone makes fun of you? I was like, or what if these parents think, oh, you're not buying clothes that fit your kid or you can afford it? It was a dress bought for the future, not for now. And it was, I didn't even buy it for her. I thought, no, I don't like this dress. Like, I just want to throw it away when she's not looking. And she kept saying, no, I like this dress. And I said, no, you need to change. And she said, I want to wear it. I'm not changing. And she got on the couch and looked at me and did, and I said, no, you're going to change. I know you know that look.
I know that look.
She gives it to everybody. And I just, no. And Brandon just watched us go back and forth. And he said, well, she really did pick her outfit and she liked it a lot. She said she was excited to wear it. And I said, Brandon, be quiet.
My God, the conditioning is strong.
And I said, you need to go up and change. And then Brandon just talked to her and said, baby, I think right now it is important that you go and change. And she just made a pouty face and she said, okay. She started moving and taking her dress off. And I just thought, wait a minute. And then Brandon looked at me and he's lucky he can get away with this. But he told me, you're acting like your mom right now.
Ooh, damn.
He said, because he knows that I hated that.
That's a good pivot. It's a good pivot.
Yeah. He knew that I did not like when mom would tell me to change or get my outfits because I told him about that back then. And he said, you are acting like your mom right now back then. He wasn't giving you a dig today, but a dig.
No, I know, but that's real. Back then, it was real.
I might have given him daggers, but I looked to
I'm
the
sure you gave
side
him daggers.
and I just took a couple breaths and I thought, what is the truth right now? Like, what is the truth? Feelings aside. And I said, the truth is she is allowed to have her own expression of clothing without my opinion. And I was like, that is the truth. I do not have to decide what she wears. It doesn't have to be me. It can be her outfit. And I said, maybe the conversations I learned to have with her are, these are the clothes you should be wearing. Maybe the conversations we have are, if anybody has an opinion about what your outfit is, what do you want to say? Like having conversations to help her feel confident and saying she likes what she chooses in front of everybody, not just me.
Yep.
If she's willing to combat me on the outfit, that means she's probably willing to combat other people. And that's why I don't want to silence it. I don't want to silence that part of her that wants to have her own opinion. Because when I do, then she's going to learn to do it for everybody.
Yeah.
So I shut myself up and I told her to keep her outfit. And she did. She let me put a little one in her hair. And that was it.
Yeah, I love that.
Awesome. Had her
I
first
love that
day.
awareness because, she felt good in the dress. She felt she was you in a younger version. And here, I think we talked about how some of these things come in like a spiral and it keeps showing up, over different time periods. And this is literally probably you at another time.
Yep. Oh, it is.
Getting ready for school and your mom going, nah, you ain't wearing that. I picked this out for you. This is your first day of school because we got to take pictures and we got to do all the things. But she's over there being like, this is my dress. And so that story was offered up for you to be able to go, oh, got it.
Look at how easy it is to,
I've caught it so many times. That is the part where Chrissy, you brought up parent was becoming a mother. When you have one mother and daughter and then the daughter becomes a mother and it changes because I felt like every single hard time with my kids was just a reflection of me. And that usually is what it is. I don't remember who it was, but I was doing a parent training to learn about Montessori. Everything I learned about parenting and trying to understand your kids. And I kept my textbook too from school with psychology, the child development class. Biggest thing is they are the reflections of you. the parents. They are the reflections of the people they are closest to. They are going to, anytime that we get triggered, they are just showing you something about you that you don't like. And I took that to heart every time we've had a hard time, every time I've been massively triggered. I go back and I pause and I think, okay, what does this tell me about me?
Yep.
And then
I
what
love
do I
that.
have to change? Because that happens a lot. That's why I say I've changed so much. When you talked about the Enneagram earlier, I do think I've changed because it's been a nonstop evolving because I've wanted to change for myself. But at first it started wanting to change for my kids. And then I realized I have to want to change for myself. I can't want to change
Oh,
for
yeah.
anybody
100%.
else.
Yeah. Big
That
time.
now that reflects to the kids, wanting to take care of me than to take care of the kids. And I think what's hard is that comes back to the mother-daughter expectations. It's not just that, one of the topics we talk about is, do we actually see the people we love?
Yep.
And I think a lot of people don't actually see the people they love. I think we can only see what we see, like our perspective.
Yep.
Everybody can only see from their perspective of the world. And so if you have expectations, other people might think my way of parenting isn't their way because, well, you need to make sure they're always doing this, or you can't let them make that choice themselves, or she's only 5. I'm like, well, actually 5-year-olds are pretty smart.
Yeah.
We're in other
Yeah.
countries, 5-year-olds are walking to the grocery store.
Yeah. And they don't
I
have all
just
of
learned
the,
that.
they don't have all the ridiculousness, all of the conditioning and everything that we have. It's like
Yeah.
you're still looking almost at that pure joy, pure energy, just doing what they don't have all of the restrictions that we've built up over time. And you kind of watch that. And that, I think that what you were just talking about, that beautiful time where she was in all of her glory of, this is my dress, I look good, whatever.
Yep.
And then here it comes. Here comes what we've dealt with all of our life. And you probably weren't, like you said, you weren't even aware you were doing it. And it's so great that you had Brandon as a reflection to be like,
Oh.
hey, because I totally see him being
Do
like,
you remember when you used to tell me that?
Like, well,
I'm not sure if you're aware of this at the moment. So I love that partnership
Yeah.
that you guys have, that he feels also brave enough.
Right? Isn't that right though? Yeah. Because I must be intimidating to a certain point that him
We
and
all are, girl.
Colin
We
will
all are
talk about that.
intimidating.
Yeah. Him and
When-
Colin talk about, being Colin will say, were you afraid to tell her something at some point?
Well, that's when we are moving in our condition,
Or our younger self, right? Because sometimes you're just sometimes you're leading from a younger version of yourself.
the adaptive child because that's really what was going on, was the adaptive child was on top of that, right? And then so when you're moving in that, it's blind, and we're kind of in this protective place of trying to pop that realization, or when people that love you are around you. I mean, there's been time that, Tim's like, oh my God, when she's in that state, she's just like you. And it's just like, hey, there's a little, fear with disrupting the pattern. So, yeah.
Because you never know if I'm going to explode.
Brandy, you were talking about, you were starting to lean into, you don't realize until you become a parent that your parent, your mom or your dad, it's almost like you don't even realize they had a life before you, because your known experience of them is from the time you were born to where you are now. And that's usually from, for your mom, that was 22 to now. But she had a life from 0 to 22.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
At some point, did you have a realization that, oh shit, my mom is more than just that identity of my mom? She is more than just career girl. She had a life before me that built everything that she is. Did that ever come up for you, that like, shit, she had boyfriends or she had friends before and she had interests. She was in the band and she did things. Did that at one point where you were like, she is similar to me. She's not just my mom. She's other things.
I'm so happy you asked that because, yes, I did. That actually didn't start till she started doing this work. I'm sure every mother-daughter has one, but we just had the most intense, for me,
it was intense.
It's not like I have another mother to go and like have this intense life with, but we just had such an intense, nonstop fighting, bickering, triggered relationship from my teens to early 20s. And you say that, and until we started doing some of this work, this inner reflective work, I didn't know. Honestly, I'm not going to be harsh and say I was a narcissist, but I swear I only thought about myself because I swore this woman only lived for me. What is she doing having another life? What is she doing? Like, not answering my phone call like that. I would be upset, but she didn't answer my phone. I'm joking, but I did not imagine. I didn't imagine that she had another life outside of family. You know, it was always odd when I saw her hanging out with friends. I was like, who is this woman? But I didn't get more curious. I didn't wonder. I went back to, okay, I need to focus on college. Oh, boys and my friends. I had a plethora of friends. Like, there's nothing it was focused on so many things that this was last for a while until I got pregnant. And mom really stepped in, and I won't go that deep into the pregnancy and the fear she had, but it really brought us together. We decided to all move in together to raise Jonas when I first got pregnant, and said, raising a child takes a village, so let's all do it together. And that brought us back together, spending more time. But then that also brought two fireballs back together, arguing and fighting and constantly at each other's throats, going, you know what, I just can't talk to you right now. I'm gonna walk away. You started going to journeys. You tried so hard to get me to go to these journeys. You were trying to get me to see who you are. And we would argue still. And you would say, like, I'm not that person anymore. I'm not that person anymore. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you're still right here. I still pushed your buttons. Like, boop. Yes, you are. And we would argue a lot about this topic. And you just kept trying to get me to heal, because maybe me healing, I would finally see you. And I didn't like being pushed to do that. And I kept telling you, I was like, I think I set a hard boundary one day, and I told you, I need you to stop telling me to go to these things and asking me. I need you to respect. I will tell you when I'm ready. I will come to you when I want to. And then lucky for you, it happened like 2 months later.
It's so funny. It happens that way. You let go and you're like, okay. Because when you told me that, I actually saw, because when my journey started with like the Tony Robbins and the coaching and all the other stuff before journeys, right? I'd always come back to you. I learned this. If we do this, and I'd be constant. So since 2012, she had me coming back to her with the plethora of information from meditations, from everything I learned at a seminar.
You're opening the fire hose on her.
Yeah, like with the whole family, desperately trying to save everybody, right?
I had the fire hose.
Yeah, you should do this, Gracie.
Let's go meditate for 4 hours. What?
No, my God, when she brought that back, I said,
trying to get everybody
time.
Space.
I said 30 minutes. I said 1 hour max is what you got me for. I said, absolutely not.
No, so you were dealing with all that, but I realized, like, I looked back and I was like, I've got to let go. If I'm doing this work, I'm doing it for me, and then that's it.
I think it's the excitement thing too, but we do get excited. We're like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I feel so great. You've got to do it. And then realize, oh, sorry. You got to do you. You got to do you. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that was a big realization. It made me let go. And it was scary. It's actually kind of a scary moment when you're like, okay, somebody has to choose for themselves and to let go and just focus on me. And then, to my surprise, shortly after, he followed.
Well, and she also had she talked about it before, the trying to get your approval. It's always needed to be her decision.
Yeah.
In this work, I've realized it has to be your decision. Yeah. Anytime that I've ever seen other people, like I've seen it with Andrew too, but other parents asking their kids to come, it's not the same. It's not the same unless someone is coming of their own free will.
Yeah.
And even like you offering me to come to the journeys for free, I said, no, there has to be an exchange of energy because I have to physically buy my way in. Like,
Yeah.
you have to decide you're worth that money and buy your way in.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I had my biggest breakthrough, because all of the journeys still leading after that, I think I was still going for you for a lot of them. On my biggest breakthrough journeys were the ones I chose to go for me. And that's what I thought was the biggest work. Seeing you was a buildup from the journeys, because once I finally started to see who I was without the masks, I just started observing. There was one day we were having a fight again for the upteenth time, and you had told me very vulnerably, you were emotional and vulnerable, and you said, I just wish you were trying to see me for who I am now and not this person that I was. And I was adamant again. I said, show me you're not that person, because all I have to do is push this button and here we are, like back to before. So maybe that wasn't right, but my way of that was my body's
That
way
was
of
your reality.
testing. I was always testing, pushing, like, there we are again. I said, nope, you're not still the same person. Here we are. And so when you ask that over time, bitterly sometimes, but I would just sit there and watch. Wouldn't say anything. I would hold my tongue and I would just watch you. I would watch you in your environments. I would watch you at the journeys. I started paying attention to what you were doing. I started watching how you interacted with other people. I started watching how we were talking. And then there was one day that I was upset, and I bit into the conversation, ready for you to bite back. I guess that was me pushing that button, and you didn't. It didn't go anywhere. I didn't get what the reaction I thought I was going to get. You were very, okay, I hear you. I'm going to walk away. We can come back and talk about it later. You gave a very different response. And I just remember laying there with my anger, because now I didn't, because I was trying to put it in you and I couldn't. So I just sat there and I realized, okay, that was different. And that was the start of noticing all of the changes I've seen in you. And from then on, it was more clear and plain as day that you had changed. That argument, when I attempted to push you and you didn't give back what I thought, you responded very differently. You didn't respond triggered. And then you also just said, I see you and I'm going to walk away. I don't want this to be an argument for us. I want to come and talk. So come talk to me when you're ready. That was it. Fireball went. I have nowhere to go. No fires to light.
When the pattern doesn't, when we don't step into the pattern that we've known. Yeah.
It was a pattern interruption, that's for sure.
Well, the pattern broke. The pattern completely broke. It didn't even get interrupted. It just changed.
Yes.
And then it kept
From
getting
then on,
reinforced.
it was just senior. It was reinforced. I've just seen her as a different person, and I'm not afraid to have conversations. Even today, there's still people afraid to talk to mom, and they'll come to me and I can talk to her, and it's very different. It's very different. We don't get triggered the same. We can still get upset about something, but we can talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's never upset like it was before. That's why I say woman to woman.
Yeah.
Because
you're driving the bus now. Your 8-year-old's not driving the bus.
Yeah. We're both driving our own buses side by side.
Correct.
And it's two people living their lives side by side. And I think this is a good reflection of all relationships, not even just mother and daughter, but I think mother and daughter is such a big pain point for so many women that have kids, because we've all had, and a lot of people have a mother-daughter wounding.
Yeah.
But
and there's a lot of depth to go through in here, but I want to just what we're talking about is now it's coming in like the last January. So we're 26. So January of 2025. Is it a women's journey? Yeah. Women's journey.
Every single time.
Yeah. Because this had been leading up to last year. It had already been over 3 years since Brandy had been stepping into this work and shifting, and old memories coming up, which she had to process and alchemize. I was in the living room with somebody else. Brandy it was so cute. You had stepped away maybe an hour prior, and you announced to the entire room, I need to go have a serious conversation with myself. And you walked away. And about an hour later, you walked Your energy walked into the room before your physical body did. I was sitting on the floor. I was tending to somebody and I saw a lightning bolt like come into the room. And I turn around to go, what was that lightning bolt? And then I saw you walking in. But what was really interesting is I knew it was you walking in, but my face was painted on her face. My face was painted on your face. And as you're walking in this energetic bolt, because everyone's hair stood up in the living room. There was literally, it wasn't just me. I'm the only one that saw the lightning bolt, but everyone felt the electricity. It was crazy. And I still don't know what conversation you had with yourself, but that's sacred and that's beautiful. But when you came in, it was like water paint. My face started washing off. It was like water was coming on your face and my face started washing off and then your face emerged. And holy shit, from that day, the journey you've been on since last January, is the woman that hasn't been seeking anyone's approval, my approval, and stepping into all her own truth. Can you tell us a little bit about what that's been like for you?
Well, yeah, that journey changed a lot for me. A lot that I didn't expect to change. I mean, I was still married back then. Never make big decisions in the first 74 hours of a journey. But I waited. I gave it some time. I think I gave it about a week and I sat in my emotions and it became very clear that my emotions and my body are always sending me messages. And they were sending me messages that this wasn't going to work. Like I was tired of seeking other people for comfort, needing other people's approval to live my life, living by the expectations of other people. And I wound up leaving Brandon, which was a really crazy and hard and big decision for me. But today we have the most beautiful co-parentship ever.
Mm-hmm.
We were just talking about him.
Mm-hmm.
I have a really good co-parentship with Brandon. And we even had a talk. We went to a dinner and had a talk about what we both felt, like all the things we wanted to say in the relationship that maybe weren't said, where we didn't feel seen, heard, what we wish the other person had done, and what really hurt us and what we can do better. That way we know, we're able to close it and then carry on to move on to the next chapter. And that was that. I called it my glow up because I wound up just feeling this crazy weight because I had expectations that at that age I needed to be married because I already had a kid. So now I got to get married and all of our friends are getting married. So literally the year that we got married, we had 4 or 5 friends get married. And so it was this, I don't know how to describe it, this expectational societal pressure.
Mm-hmm.
We needed to do it. He didn't even want to, I don't know if he wanted to marry me, but I had to ask him to marry me. That's not right. That in my eyes, if the two people really want to be together, it should just flow that way, not because I said that we should get married. So then I put that pressure on him to also do the same thing. And so I would say my life's changed a lot. Enjoyed getting to know me. That's really what I want to call it. Getting to know my emotions, what's not comfortable, what is comfortable, meeting somebody new, realizing I never really let anybody else in on who I was, just what I needed people to see of me. Like we talked about earlier with the expectations and the conditioning, I always had a face and a mask on for other people to see me. And that was to protect my peace. But I never really voiced my opinions or talked about what I was feeling. And I didn't realize that until I took a good look at even my friendships or even peer friends and realized there was a lot of me that was not coming through being the person each person wanted. Like I was tailoring who I was for each person. And it took pausing to go, maybe I don't want to make that response, or maybe I don't want to do that anymore, or maybe I don't want to be the person making the plans all the time. Maybe I don't want to be the person reaching out all the time. Maybe I don't like talking bad about somebody behind their back. That became I started to realize what my values were. And I realized, things like criticism and praise. I've been learning about Adlerian psychology, and it talks about praise and criticism. And one of the things that I was discovering is when I'm criticized, we start to think about our value. We start to think about who we are as a person. And I don't know, no one's criticism is a definition of who I am. I can instead run through my values and my principles. And that's what I've started learning is what are my values and my principles? Who is Brandy? What do I believe in when I'm not trying to believe in the same thing as the people around me? And I found I have my own set. And I run all of the criticism and the praise through my values and my principles, because sometimes when people are praising you, you weren't doing something you really wanted to do. You were just doing something other people wanted you to do. And then you do more of that thing because you were praised. And I know I have to be careful about that, because I was always praise seeking with you. I was always looking for praise. Like, I felt loved by you through my achievements.
Yeah.
I learned to be the smartest kid in my class. I learned to make sure I got all A's. I learned to make sure that I excelled at sports just to make sure it was good for you. I tried to be good at everything. And I tell you, like, when I pick something up, I can usually be good at it really quickly. And I know that comes from you. So I was always looking for that praise, and like choosing the medical school thing too. Whenever we'd go to a public setting where we're with a group of your work friends and you had me dressed nicely and you're telling me, this is my daughter, she's going to school right now for medicine. It was always my achievements.
Yeah.
And so instead of being this achievement seeking and praise seeking, it was always just praise seeking, really. I needed other people as a barometer to know that I was doing good.
That's where you got your value from. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got your value from that. That you started to learn, right, wrong, or indifferent, that if you did that, that's where it felt like love came from.
Correct. There was no space for authenticity. There was no space for the
Because
real you.
that was met with, don't do that.
Yeah, correct. And that's the conditioning that we're all trying to get over.
Well, it's interesting if I can reflect back on the two of you, because I've heard now your
Yes.
story, Brandy, and I've heard your story separate, Laura, and it's almost the same exact story from Laura when you were a kid and being first chair and being the smartest and doing all of the things. It's almost the exact same story, hearing it. That's what's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's why there's so much more peace in our relationship now, because we're not seeking any of that. We're stepping into who I am, who you are. I get to witness, I remember last year, like when she came to me and said, I'm leaving Brandon. And I had this energy. And so it's what's beautiful about awareness. I had this energy that came over me of like, no. And I felt it. And she's sitting right in front of me. And then I'm like, no, that's not mine. That's not mine. I took a deep breath and I just looked at you. I said, okay, how do I support you? I didn't want, for the first time, I did not want to disrupt what your opening, what your shift, that was yours. And it was not my place to disrupt it, to steer you away. It was just, how do I stand here? How do I support you? How do I support Brandon? How do I support the kids? How do I support and allow you to ask for the help? And whoo, I don't, all this work gave me the space to be able to do that and step back and just watch you over this has been a little over a year and a half, and all the changes you've made. Big, brave, big, bold changes.
It's been a lot this year. In the last year and a half, it's been a lot. That's for sure.
Yeah, a lot of this work is not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah. It's not about the dopamine hit of like feeling good and doing a couple of good things to make you feel good.
No, it is
real
sitting
change.
in a lot of shit.
Yeah. And real change is uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable.
That's probably the biggest part of what made it so hard.
Yeah.
Is the discomfort. There was a lot of change because what was comfortable was living by others' expectations, living in the societal like pressures, because that's
easier.
Normal.
It's easier.
It is. You see everybody else do it, and everything in our lives is already pre-built for you to live that same life. So literally all you have to do is like click in and you're going. So choosing to live a different way is harder. choosing not to go out drinking all the time because I actually want to be better with my health, and I don't want to drink as often because I know that alcohol isn't great for you. So like it's small stuff like that that changes friendship dynamics even too. And that changes a lot.
A lot of friendships.
But even like I said earlier, choosing to see people for who they are, where they are right now. And you had brought up that bringing a very authentic version of us. And that's actually one of my first values. My number one value on the list of all of my main values is being authentically me, which means I do not lose myself or abandon myself in an effort to belong. And a lot of groups require that. A lot of people want you to abandon yourself to belong.
Yeah, jobs, being a parent, being in part other parents, being in your social groups, a lot of that is abandoning yourself. And when you start to not abandon yourself, that makes everybody else really uncomfortable.
Really it does. Like, why aren't you doing this? We're all doing it. It's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. It's not easy. It really isn't. It doesn't feel that great. And it sucks when you start to lose a lot of that ground that you used to have to walk on. But then it's interesting to start to find the new ground. When I was meditating one time, I saw what looked like a tornado came in, and it kind of looked like a dystopian world and like behind my eyes. I'm meditating. So I'm just seeing that behind, and everything looks dark and gray, and all these pieces are broken, and I don't see anything in sight. But then I take a step and I'm looking, and then one of my steps finally crystallizes into a really beautiful white crystal, like granite. It looks like granite with little golden swirls. It looked really pretty. And then I took another one, and then I kept going, and I was walking, and then I saw a bench on the path, and I made that bench, and it's meant to just be like a resting stop and then keep going. So that's what I started noticing, was recreating the world. And that's what we all get to do, is everybody gets an opportunity to rebuild, recreate their life, and keep growing and changing. And a part of relationships is growing and changing. You need to be willing to see the other person and
in the present moment.
Not for who they were. Because I think that's why some of my friendships fell off, is they kept seeing me as someone that used to exist. Everybody's changing. And it's a matter of, does our relationship grow together? And the biggest part of that is letting each other live our own lives. You let me live my life. I let you live your life. I don't try to impart anything on you. And we come together woman to woman in relationship, no longer forcing all of these
old roles, old costumes,
expectations. Like, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. No. When you're asking certain things, sometimes what you're asking, or what other people are asking, is for another person to do something that makes you less uncomfortable, or that eases you, or you're asking someone to abandon themselves to do something different, or asking for you to show up differently when, no, you get what you get. Allowing someone to exist fully, not just as you expect them to be. And I think that's what's kept us going ever since then, being in this incredible relationship that we could not have imagined before. I have so many great examples in my head of crazy ass arguments. But in those arguments, I could have never seen us here.
Yeah.
And we have changed a lot even then still. But what keeps us going, like I said, is that relationship. No one sees we don't see each other above or below, front, behind, nothing. It's just the same horizontal plane existing, changing, growing together. She's observing my experience of life. I'm observing hers. And we come back and we talk about, oh my gosh, there's this crazy shit going on. We come back. So I think that's what really changes. It really is more woman to woman than mother and daughter. Like, don't do that. Don't do this.
Yeah.
And it still comes up every now and then. Like, mom will go, are you sure? You got to be careful with your energy, and you don't want to keep those people. And I said, well,
yeah. And it's like, oh, there I go. Whew,
I'll find out if it's a mistake. But I'm like,
yeah.
I feel pretty comfortable and confident on my choices. Just trust me. And then if it doesn't work,
trust me.
Then it didn't work.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a lot of what it's. I don't know if it's trust or just allowing other people to exist,
or both. It's both. Yeah. It's allowing and being willing to just witness, and no longer being in an energy of like, I told you so. No, I win. No, it's any of that.
I told you so.
Yeah. Because we're learning. Yeah, let's try this. Who do you see now? And then I'll tell you who I see now. Because we've talked a lot about all the shifts and change.
I see, I don't know, it's very complex to say. I see Laura. I see very clear-headed, very beautiful energy, thoughtful, considerate, loving, also very brave and powerful. You've made a lot of brave choices, decisions, hard decisions, confronted people. A lot of the things you were acknowledging me for, I feel like we can't see what we don't already see in ourselves. You were reflecting a lot of the same back. So that's what I see in you, just as brave, very brave and courageous with everything that you do and the work that you're doing, the voice you're giving, what you're trying to reach people with, and how you've tried to reach our family, how much you care and want us to also follow you. But that's what I see.
Thank you.
I just see you existing, and you're always having a good time. When you're in the thick of it, you're in the thick of it, but you're always trying to have a good time. You're always taking a step back and going, how can I shift this? What can I do? So you're never stuck for long.
Yeah.
We all got to get stuck some point. Like, that's why that phrase, do it for the plot, really, like, we have a plot to live, our own lives to live. So stuff's going to keep coming up, but you always pause and come back and pivot and make the next best choice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
A mother's dream, right, of praise from your daughter. Thank you for seeing me. Gosh, you are my mirror. Yeah. The gift of you and Rory has been that you see people. I see you see people. You listen. You are crazy powerful. And yeah, so brave. I see you take a deep breath when something challenging comes in. And your breath is kind of like, and then you step. You don't hesitate. You step forward.
Yeah. I like that you said that.
Yeah, it's wild to see, because when I do that, I'm like, I may take a few breaths. I see you. It's like you go, you get grounded and you step. You don't hesitate. You take that first step. You say the things. You lean into a really beautiful truth, and you invite people when you do that to do it. And the ones it scares don't step in with you. But then now I see you where before you used to have saving everybody. Now I see you go process and still be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your growth has been a beautiful mirror for me. It helps me see you even deeper. And then even the time that we spend together now, it's like the time we spend together now is what I always wanted when you were little, when you were younger. We get to say some crazy shit and have a blast and feel very fulfilled in our relationship. So, and watching you grow, ooh, and help me break pattern after pattern after pattern from our family. Thank you. Mhm. I love you big time. I know.
That's a gift.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I knew the waterworks are coming.
Any other questions you may have, Chrissy, or do you think we're kind of about
I think you should wrap it up with that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I gotta touch it so I don't get it awful.
I'm going to do a closing. Thank you, guys. Hopefully this reaches somebody or gives you hope to what's possible with the relationships that mean the most to you. Wow. As we close, I keep coming back to that image that I shared earlier, seeing my own face painted across my daughter's. and then watching it slowly wash away until her face emerged beneath it. At the time, I knew it meant something, but sitting here with her now, I think I understand it completely different. Because maybe part of loving our children is eventually realizing that they were never meant to become us. And maybe part of growing up is realizing that we were never meant to become the people who came before us either. We inherit so much from one another. Expectations, roles, ways of surviving, ideas of who we were supposed to be. And some of those things serve us for a while until they don't. I think there's grief in recognizing what we didn't have and what we couldn't give each other, and how long we may have spent seeing one another through an old version of themselves. But grief and love can exist in the same room. I can honor who I was as a mother without pretending I got everything right. She can honor the mother she knew without having to keep relating to me as that woman forever. And I can look at my daughter and let her be someone I couldn't have imagined she would become. Not an expectation of me and not a reflection of me. Just her. Welcome home to just you. Oh, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for pausing with me. May what you heard settle gently in your body and stir something true within you. If this episode spoke to your soul, please subscribe and share with someone else who might need this pause as well. Until next time, come as you are, take a deep breath, and stay for the stillness.